think I'll cross and take my mans out, just kill yourself. In the trenches, 40 on my hip, I had to fix my belt.
What's good, YouTube? Now, saying what kind of we back in the video, you know what I'm saying? Today, y'all, we got NBA legend and players explaining how special college Michael Jordan was. You know what I'm saying? We watched Michael Jordan college highlights. If you ain't go watch that video, go watch it right now in this bit. But he was getting the upper side of the video, bro. He was getting, oh, give me that big, give me that big, give me that big, give me that big, give me.
What you looking at me for?
Watch out, bro. I went to every college team and won a championship there. And left.
Watch out, bro.
Fake. Anyway, y'all, bro. We finna get straight into this, baby. Make sure y'all like, comment, subscribe that for this 20, you know what I'm saying? Sure to be on all that. I like when we do a Michael Jordan video in a minute, low key. You know what I'm saying? We want to react to football in this bit.
Chicago Bulls. I even made a video where they talk about how.
Oh, Jordan, do you remember Michael Jordan, right?
No.
You tell?
Shit was nothing, bro.
I scored 60.
That shit was lame.
And 2K with Michael Jordan.
That shit was lame.
Did something like he would do in real life.
He was during his Washington Wizards years. So I said to myself, why not go back where he started to blossom, from Michael Jordan to Air Jordan? I compiled some NBA legends that watch or play with them, and I also put some of his college teammates and legendary college coaches to show that he was already a legend in the making. So enjoy the video, man.
His athleticism. He was in Carolina, and they were running, I forget, 100 or 40-yard dash. Mm-hmm. And he ran some spectacular number. And the late Dean Smith, who was a really good friend of mine, and also Roy Williams, who just retired at North Carolina, we were all close. And they were talking about him, I think it was running 100 or something like that. He ran at some spectacular time. Wow. And one of the coaches said something to him differently. And he said, oh, I can do better than that. Wow. He went out at 0.2 of a second faster. Wow. And like vertical jump means a lot, but it means a lot to the ones who have skill. Right. Some guys jump quickly. Some guys have to wind up. Yeah. Michael Jordan was like a cat.
Well, I remember.
That's something how I did or whatever. I did my vertical jump out of the chair. Out of the chair. So basically, I just like this, jumped out, did a 50-inch vertical out of the chair.
I did my vertical, and I got a 52, by the way, 52. But I did it laying down on my back. I had to do the shit Bo Jackson did, then jump.
Watch out, bro. You was not, bro. What? You was watch the fuck out. You was not jumping that aisle doing the Bo Jackson did.
I am 52 inches.
No, bro.
What?
Who was maxed out vertical on me?
Michael Jordan. I remember him coming in on a weekend, a football weekend, and I was down in my room at the end of the hall, and the elevator doors opened up. And all I could hear was this big mouth, and it was Michael Jordan. And he was like, yeah, this is going to be my hall. I'm taking over this dorm.
Oh, shit.
And I was like, he's still in high school. You know, he's still in high school. And I'm like, who is this guy? And I never thought he was arrogant, but he was full of confidence. Yeah. And I was better than Michael Jordan.
Oh, my gosh.
For about 3 weeks. First 3 weeks of practice. And I saw some things in him, Twan. I mean, he dunked on Sam Perkins and I one time, and I still know how he did it. But I saw him in the raw. And most of us were kind of in the raw when we came to Coach Smith. And he either slowed you down or he either enhanced your game throughout his theory. But Michael was an incredible freshman. And, you know, one of the rare moments that he was able to start. Phil Ford, myself.
Oh, that hoe's going crazy. She's trying to get crushed. She's trying to get choked.
Moments that he was able to start.
Peep her over here, y'all.
Phil Ford, myself.
She's the only. She's the only
Michael,
one.
I think, was the third freshman to ever start. So he was a competitor. And then the guy didn't like to lose in anything. You could play him in a game of backgammon, a game of cards, and he would be emotionally upset if he lost. And so I knew he was going to be an all-star, but I didn't know he was going to be possibly best player I ever played. Never.
All same game shit.
In Chapel Hill at a place called Woolen Gym. And we were the number 1 ranked recruiting class, and we went over to Chapel Hill to play. And after playing against Jordan and those guys, we were kind of looking at ourselves, going, I don't know if this is this might not have been a good decision. And then like people would say, hey, did you know in college that Jordan was going to be great? Like, yeah, we did. We knew. When you played against him and Len Bias and Ralph Sampson, you're kind of going, all right, whoever said all men are created equal, that's BS. Like, that's just not true.
The kid is just an absolutely great kid. If I were going to pick the 3 or 4 best athletes I've ever seen play basketball, he'd be one of them. I think he's the best athlete I've ever seen play basketball, bar none. If I were going to pick people with the best ability I'd ever seen play the game, he'd be one of them. If I were going to pick the best competitors that I'd ever seen play, he'd be one of them. So in the categories of competitiveness, ability, skill, and then athletic ability, he's the best athlete, he's one of the best competitors, he's one of the most skilled players. And that, to me, makes him the best basketball player that I've ever seen play.
Do you recall the first time you
so
played?
He was talking about me, but he just didn't say my name. I told him, don't say my name. I don't feel like getting all that hype and shit right now.
With Michael Jordan when he arrived on campus?
Yeah, it was in practice. We always had, during the summers, and went to summer school, and we had pickup games, and everybody comes back. The classes before, Phil Ford, Dudley, all these guys came back, and Michael came that summer as well. And playing in those games, we saw a little glimpse of him, but he wasn't what he is now. He wasn't majestical at that time, but playing in practice, we had a guy by the name, I don't know if you remember, Curtis Hunter. Mm-hmm. And he came before Michael, and they played the same position. But long story short, Curtis thought he was Michael Jordan at the time, but when Michael came there, it became a battle, and Curtis couldn't hang with him, let's say. So we thought we had a nice player in Curtis, but Michael just took head and shoulders over him.
How much better did he make you, both in the play on the court and what he was telling you off the court?
Well, I think, a college player from now to where he is a Gawk in the Hall of Fame is a different person. But I think the one thing that you look at his career, the things that he came into the league as his weaknesses were actually his strengths when he left. His ball handling, his outside shooting was strengths. So that just showed the testimony of how much he worked and how hard he worked during the off seasons and when he used to come back to Carolina and play pickup with us. In all of those years, I think his enthusiasm and love of the game, and you can even see it in the interview, his reluctancy to accept greatness, but to be great is what makes his reluctancy to accept greatness, but to be great is what makes him Michael Jordan. And is probably, if not getting smacked in the head.
His head is big as hell. It covered his whole head.
Him as a freshman, we played pickup games. I'd hit him with an elbow, and I'd bang him, and I could see some of the timidness in it. But, boy, by the time he got to be a sophomore, I can remember playing against him, and he hit me one time. I elbowed him in the chest, and he turned around and elbowed me right back in the chest and said, I'm not scared of you anymore.
I did the running program before the season started. He says, I want to be the best player. And I said, well,
I wasn't going to say it, but that nigga looked like somebody.
But he looked like somebody, I'm not going to lie.
He like E.T., nigga.
Oh shit, man. He said he elbowed way off. Come back.
I can remember playing against him, and he hit me one time. I elbowed him in the chest, and he turned around and elbowed me right back in the chest and said, I'm not scared of you anymore.
I did the running program.
They talking like they in a law firm commercial.
I want to be the best player. And I said, well, then you have to work harder than you did in high school. He said, well, I worked as hard as everybody else. I said, I thought you just told me you wanted to be the best player.
Michael got better and better every year. Every practice, every game, he grew with confidence, and you just saw it coming, and it was just a matter of time.
Every day in practice, when Coach Smith was talking, Every player looked at Coach because of the respect and they knew what they could get from him. But Michael looked right down into Coach Smith's soul.
But I do believe that Michael Jordan has something.
What the fuck was that?
In his heart or something in his engine that very few.
Oh, fuck all that shit.
Down into Coach Smith's soul.
But I do believe that Michael.
You got up there. He missed?
No, he just.
Oh, hell no.
In his heart or something in his engine that very few athletes in history have.
The guy's got to win. That's it. He has to win, and I always credit that to being the youngest of three boys. And his dad would sit there and say, "All right, hey, you know, so what, Mike? You get picked on. Take care of yourself."
Ooh, what the
Part
fuck?
was that he got cut by his team and didn't like it. I'm sure part of it was stoked by Coach Smith. You know, Coach Smith can stoke your fire, and you know, you'll either respond or you won't.
Yeah, so I really think all of that competitive nature comes from Coach Smith and the way he kind of psychologically got us to go at each other as well as the other team and keep us so sharp. So all of those things that I hear Michael say that he does, I'm like, yeah, you got that from Coach Smith. You didn't think of these things. You weren't that competitive. You were just like everyone else. But Coach Smith kind of put the seed in for him.
Here's Braddock, three-pointer. No good. Tapped in by Jordan. 63-62.
It's our sophomore year against Virginia. We were down 18 at halftime, I believe. We came back, and he made an unbelievable play on Rick Carlisle.
Jordan scores. Here goes Jordan for the dunk. Holy cow.
And then a couple plays later, Virginia takes a shot. He goes up over Ralph Sampson, grabs
Give
the
me that
rebound.
bitch.
But he just made big play after big play.
I remember one game where he went down the middle and dunked it after there'd been a little altercation between Ben Coleman and Matt Doherty. And a few minutes later, Michael's got the ball under his arm. We're in the four corners. And Herman Veal was supposed to be guarding him. Adrian Branch says, "Herman, go get him." And Herman said, "You want his blankety blank, you go get him."
I had really seen most of the things that this guy could do. 360s, cradling, rocking, but I had never seen that.
And in the locker room, he asked me, he said, I didn't want to watch what Michael, he said, "What did he do?" And I said, "Coach, I can't describe it."
I kept hearing about it, so I did see it on the tape the next day, and it was sensational, and certainly
That's when you
showed
did
his
that,
ability.
and then I think that was like the end of the game. Like the shot clock went off.
It was too showy. I didn't. I kind of like seeing it.
But the first thing Coach Smith said was, one of the things was, "Well, I'm glad you made it." And the second thing he said was, "Do you know Kenny was ahead of you? Why didn't you pass it to him?" So
Kenny played with him?
That was the first two things that Coach said to him. In the true Coach Smith fashion.
I said they'll remember it when we play them the next time, but then you'll just have to do it better.
Instead of his shooting and his offensive, I was more impressed with his defensive ability. Because when he said, "You know what? I have this whole side of the floor covered," he had the whole side of the floor covered.
Like me.
He was an exceptional shot blocker from the weak side in college, where guys would have layups or beat someone to the basket, and he would come help side defense. And guys have wide open layups, and you think they're layups.
Give me that. Damn.
He comes over and he would just
Give me that.
Give
me that bitch.
And early in his, especially in college, he used to block dunks.
Give me that.
I've never really seen guys go after other guys' dunks and be able to catch them in midair and choke the ball down.
He could guard a point guard, a two guard, a small forward, some power forwards if he had to. Michael was the best defensive player in the country, without question.
Would Michael become a great player if he'd gone somewhere else? Yeah, he would have. Would he have maybe done all the things that he's done? Maybe not, because I think Coach Smith has proven that he's helped players become great players. Not only just make it in the NBA, but great NBA players. And you look at the players' comments, they all give Coach Smith a lot of credit.
The greatest thing that Michael Jordan said about Dean Smith, he says that Coach Smith gave him the fundamentals to build a foundation that allowed him to expand and do so many other things with his game. And that's what Coach Smith did. Coach Smith wouldn't accept mediocre or sloppiness from anyone, but he pushed Michael, I think, harder than any player who ever played here.
So guys, I hope you enjoyed the video, and you can already tell.
Say, give me that business. Okay, bro. Shoot, y'all. That's the end of the video. Make sure y'all like, comment, subscribe, comment on the video. You like the best person in the building. All that we got a little bit.
Belly trucks with semi-suck, La Harlem turn the city up. Be wild and don't get any fucks. We block stars, they